So, if you become a new champion of something that resembles weak old dirty asshole, are you really a champion? Alright, we got a wrestling review for Monday Night Raw, episode October 14th, 2013. Different location. My usual spot is indisposed at the moment, so we're going to make do here. We're still going to get the job done. And let me just say, right off the bat, this episode of Raw was bad. I mean, it was fucking bad. Not all of it. The whole show wasn't bad. There were a couple of parts that I liked, and I really enjoyed the main event. But the parts that I didn't like, that I thought were bad, were so bad that I just wanted to fucking turn off my TV. Like, I have, in all the time that I have been reviewing Raw up to this point, I can't think of a time any more than now, than last night, that I really wanted to just turn my TV off and just walk away and just be like, I'm fucking done with this episode. I'll catch the good parts on YouTube or read what happened on the website. I was fucking done. It was that bad. But to start off the show, it actually started out pretty good. Shawn Michaels opened up the show. He comes out. He's got camo all over the fucking place. And unfortunately, the first thing he says when he opens his mouth is he's basically in a indirect way plugging the WWE app. I fucking hate that shit. I hate seeing a guy who's like a legend in the business. He's a great performer with the things that he did in the ring during his time. And now he has to come out and the first thing he has to say when he opens his mouth is, oh, the WWE app. And then the next thing he's got to say is, well, old HB Shizzle. What the fuck is up with this HB Shizzle bullshit? I don't get it. I can't help but feel that WWE backstage is sort of pressuring him to just put that in there at least once during his promos to try to get it trending so that WWE can trend on Twitter on something else for the night. That's just my feeling, my take on that, and it is fucking stupid. And other than that, I liked what Michaels had to say. He pretty much said that the last two pay-per-views were garbage, and what happened with the title was bogus. It was a crock. And he guarantees that that is not going to happen at Hell in a Cell, and there will definitely be a winner and a new WWE champion by the end of the pay-per-view. And then Orton comes out, and they're in his hometown of St. Louis, I believe, so he gets a nice pop from the crowd, but then he heals it up and he tries his best to turn the crowd against him. And the back and forth between Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton, I really liked it. It kept the focus on the title, kept the focus on the upcoming title match, and there was no Triple H, no Stephanie McMahon, and no Big Show to be seen. So that's a big thumbs up for me. And I liked Randy Orton on the mic. He was just in your face, dominant heel for pretty much the whole segment. I liked it. And I really liked the RKO and sweet chin music attempts. I thought that was good stuff. So they kind of segue from this right into Randy Orton versus The Miz, which this match, nothing special, but it wasn't a bad match. It was just kind of there. The problem is, I hate The Miz as a face. So I have a hard time getting behind him at all in anything that he does as a face. So I really didn't care what happened. I wanted to see Orton fucking destroy him, to be honest. But that's not what happened. What did wind up happening was that Miz was about to go to the figure four. He was going to put the figure four on Randy Orton, and the lights went out. Which is good, because then we didn't have to watch Miz fucking look like a douchebag and destroy that submission hold trying to apply it to Randy Orton. And then the lights come back up. You see the Wyatts on the ramp. Distraction. Miz gets hit with the RKO. And Orton gets the pin. So after the match, we get Bray Wyatt cutting a promo where I'm pretty sure he said the line that Miz embodies everything he loathes about this world, which I thought was hilarious. But he's a little wrong there. He's got to take out Miz and replace it with John Cena. Then he's right on the fucking money. So, promo is okay, but the problem is, I'm still waiting for the Wyatts to do something important or entertaining, because fighting. What did they fight last time? Kofi, and now they're fighting The Miz. Who gives a fucking shit? I don't care about The Miz. I don't care about watching Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. I'd rather watch fucking Honey Boo Boo's mom versus Cheeseburger and French fries. You know, it's garbage. Alright, so that right there was the good part, okay? I hope you got your schedule cleared for the next, 45 fucking minutes to go do something else when this show was on, because this next stretch was pure ass. Terrible, assy garbage. I'm talking Fandango versus Santino Marella. Up next, we got a Brad Maddox and Paul Heyman backstage segment. And I don't get this. The segment wasn't too bad. They set up this beat the clock challenge for the night. But what bugs me is when everybody, I'm talking Brad Maddox, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, when they're all in there with Paul Heyman, all of a sudden they flip-flop. They're not heels, they're faces versus Paul Heyman. But when it's against everybody else, they're heels. I mean, he's talking about CM Punk, what's fair for CM Punk, putting him in a handicap match against Curtis Axel and Ryback, but yet he does all of these terrible, awful things to Daniel Bryan on Triple H's orders to try to ruin his fucking day every single Monday night. I just don't fucking get it. Anyway, up next we got a John Cena video package, just talking about his boyhood dream or something. As soon as it started, fast forward, I skipped through that garbage. And this wasn't the only one. He gets two. Oh, he gets two video packages, celebrating his return to the WWE. Except here's the fucking thing. He has only been gone for 8 weeks. 8 weeks! That's it! 8 fucking weeks! I go longer stretches of time without seeing relatives. And I don't make video packages and send them to them when I'm about to show up at their doorstep, letting them know, hey, I'm coming back. That's fucking dumb. How can you make 2 comeback videos for the guy, and he hasn't even been gone for 8 weeks? It's just, I don't even get that. Fuck that John Cena. Oh, and speaking of garbage that I will not watch, here comes the Los Matadores. I watched it. Okay, I watched it just long enough to see another dead crowd reaction for this ridiculous team. It is the stupidest fucking gimmick, and they're fighting the 3-man band again. That's 3 weeks in a row. Are you kidding me? Get the hell out of here. And it just doesn't get any better after that. We got Triple H and Stephanie McMahon promo. And then Daniel Bryan comes out, and then he immediately gets attacked by Alberto Del Rio, and they announce that him and Del Rio are going to have a match later on in the night. So, the segment, I didn't care about it. Yeah, Stephanie McMahon, I didn't want to hear her talk, not tonight. I was already in a bad mood after the garbage that I had just got done seeing, and now we get more fucking garbage. And plus, when she was talking about Big Show and repossessing his house and his assets, and what a bunch of fucking stupid bullshit. This kind of storytelling is crap. And then what Triple H had to say, I didn't like that either, because it pretty much sounded like we're going to get more of him on Raw in the coming weeks. Alright, up next is Ryback versus R-Truth in the first of 2 Beat the Clock matches. And I'll tell you what, I liked the beginning of the match, where Truth was just doidling around the ring, running away from Ryback to try to build up time. I thought that was funny. Ryback getting in Truth's Paul Heyman getting in Truth's face, going, stop! And then Ryback attacking him from behind. That was good stuff. But once Ryback actually started going after R-Truth, boy, this match got real fucking boring, because Ryback was like, I'm going to go for a pin every 10 seconds. I'm going to punch him and go for a pin. Shoulder tackle, pin. Kick, let's do a pin. Oh, body slam, how about another pin? Eventually, he finally does beat R-Truth at 5 minutes and 44 seconds, but this match was pretty shitty. And oh boy, here's another good segue. Speaking of shitty, here comes tons of fucking shit versus Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. And guess what? I'm not watching this garbage either, okay? But here's something I need to talk about. This is, I forget, we were at least halfway into the show at this point. We're pretty close to it. And at this point, we have had three kitty acts on this episode of Raw for the night so far. Santino Marella, Los Matadores, and tons of fucking shit. That's 3 kitty acts on one episode of Raw in 3 different segments. Like, that's overkill. I understand having parts for the kids, but 3 separate, fairly long parts on a show that's already pretty shitty? No! Oh, it's just so bad, man. It was just such crap. It was so bad. Oh. How's about Brie Bella versus Tamina Snuka? I skipped a match. It seemed like it went on a hell of a lot longer than most Divas matches, but it looked like Tamina won. Woo! Okay, finally, I think we are 2 hours into the show at this point, and we get into something mildly entertaining. We got CM Punk versus Curtis Axel, and Punk's got to beat Axel within the 5-minute, 44-second time limit. The match was alright. There was some good back and forth between the two. I did like the match. It was leaps and bounds above that Ryback R-Truth match, at least. So that's a good thing. And Punk did win. He hit the GTS with 11 seconds to spare. So I didn't really get why Curtis Axel didn't try to get away from Punk to try to extend the match. He was looking up at the clock like he was the one that had to beat Punk within the time limit. That didn't really make any sense. But this is the WWE we're talking about here, so I can't really expect a whole lot of sense here. I mean, we're talking about Stephanie McMahon repossessing the Big Show's assets, so go fucking figure. But after the match, Punk announces that it's going to be CM Punk versus Ryback and Paul Heyman in a handicap match at Hell in a Cell, in a Hell in a Cell match. So that's kind of interesting, and a match where Ryback can do stuff and not look completely terrible because they can do stuff with the cell and weapons. Alright, after that we got Alberto Del Rio versus Daniel Bryan. And I like this match as well. It was a good match. It wasn't a great match. It was a good match. There was Daniel Bryan. He was showing a lot of emotion, a lot of anger as he went after Del Rio. The match was pretty fast-paced. It was energetic. It was a long match. And then, right in the middle of the match, it gets cut short because Orton comes up on the Titantron, and guess what? He's going after Brie Bella in the back, in the trainer's room. So Bryan leaves the ring to chase after him. He gets counted out because of it. And then Orton attacks Daniel Bryan in the back, and he throws him into like a tub or something. Now, this part with Brie Bella wasn't too bad. I didn't have to hear her too much, but they're definitely upping the amount of Bella content you're getting per Raw, because there were 4 segments on this episode that had Brie Bella either in the segment or she was the central part of the conversation. That is too much. It's going to lead to bad things. If it doesn't end with Orton giving her that hanging DDT off the barricade, I don't need to see her talk at all. Just take that fucking DDT and get her out of there. Use her to fuel Daniel Bryan's rage to make him go fucking crazy during the Hell in a Cell match. You want to do that, that's fine. But I don't need to see her terrible acting. Oh, it's so bad. Now we finally get to the main event, which was a good match. A very good match, in my opinion. You got the Rhodes, Goldust, and Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, in a no DQ match for the tag team titles. Now, first off, the fact that this was in the main event, you could tell that something big was going to happen with this. It was pretty obvious that either they were going to win the belts or something really dramatic was going to happen at the end. They definitely treated this like it was a big fight feel, the way they announced at the start of the match, and then it started off really slow, and then it gradually built up, which was good, which was fine. I was okay with that. And towards the end, the action just started getting more and more intense. One of my favorite sequences of this match was when Cody got the hot tag, and he dropped down on his back and did the Goldust punch to Roman Reigns. And he stands up, and Reigns just roars in Cody's face, so Cody punches him in the face. And then Reigns gets knocked back, but he charges forward for his big patented spear, and Cody ducks out of the way and just pushes him right into that corner post. That was good stuff. And then Cody followed it up with a roll-up, which didn't get the pin, but then he nailed the moonsault. It was a great sequence from Cody Rhodes, really make him look like he knew what he was doing and he could handle himself against a bigger guy. That was pretty cool. And then things just kept getting better and better. At the end, Cody Rhodes took this awesome power bomb from Seth Rollins into the barricade outside the ring. And then at this point, I really didn't know how the match was going to end. I honestly had no idea what was going to happen, and that was great. I like not knowing what's going to happen. And then it was Goldust. This was like the second coming of Goldust at the end of this match. He was awesome in this match. And then he took that gigantic spear from Roman Reigns on the outside. Really cool stuff. And shortly after that is when the crowd started flipping out because Big Show was coming down to the ring. He comes out, he basically KO punches everybody in the Shield. Except for Roman Reigns, man, he missed him hard, and it looked so bad. But Reigns had to sell it, and then Cody Rhodes got the pin off of it. New WWE Tag Team Champions, Cody Rhodes and Goldust. So I really like this match. And you know what? I was fine with the Big Show coming out. And I was fine with him attacking the Shield. I was fine with the Shield losing the tag title belts. If they're going to lose them to anybody, have it be the Rhodes. That's a team I feel like it's okay to lose to, and they had a really good match to lose the belt. But what I didn't like was right after the match was over, instead of the focus being on Cody Rhodes and Goldust winning the titles, Triple H is out there like immediately. I think he even pushed Goldust out of the ring so he could stand there and flip out and take his jacket off with his tie and jerk himself off in the middle of the ring. I mean, after this big dramatic match and this big dramatic finish, don't you want the focus to be on the new champs? Nope. It's on Triple H and Big Show, which apparently they're building towards a match, possibly at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I mean, Triple H versus Big Show was like a main event 12 fucking years ago. And they haven't gotten better with age. I don't want to see that. That's garbage. But apparently that's where they're going because I don't even fucking know why. I wouldn't even be surprised if that match closes out the show. You watch. I could see Triple H doing that because he's such a fucking douche. Alright, so, overall, this episode of Raw fucking sucked. I mean, there were some good parts, but the parts that were bad were really bad. Okay? The opening segment was okay. CM Punk match was alright. And the Daniel Bryan match was alright. But nothing worth saying you have to go check this out. Now, the main event, the tag title match, yeah, you want to check that out. That was good stuff. But the rest of the show, the parts that were good, well, they weren't really good. They were only okay. And the parts that were bad, well, they were fucking terrible. So this Raw gets a thumbs down for me. All right, man. That's it. JB Squared, 61279. I'm hoping for more good parts on an episode of Raw next week. Because the good parts seem like they're getting fewer and far between now. So here's hoping it gets better. I'll see you guys next time.